A military plane bombing a village. Fighters clashing around a temple. And dozens of burned houses after an army's visit. This is Myanmar, a country where more than 3,500 civilians have been killed in 2.5 years. Since its coup d'etat in February 2021, the military junta has tried to crush any resistance. In September 2021, pro-democracy demonstrations in major cities transformed into an armed insurrection throughout the country. After more than 1.5 years of fighting, the regime held out, benefiting not only from its material superiority, particularly in the air, but also its valued foreign allies. Monde, in partnership with Myanmar Witness, gathered dozens of amateur videos, analysed satellite data, and tracked down the vessels supplying the junta. What we found sheds light on the military regime's methods and demonstrates China and Russia's illegal backing.
Warning: some of the footage shown in this video may be upsetting.
On February 28, 2023, in the centre of Myanmar, a plane belonging to the regime dropped unguided bombs over the houses of this village. The video was taken here, in the Pinglang township. A few hundred meters away, at the same time, soldiers and rebel fighters were in direct confrontation on the ground. Targeted by the army and sometimes caught in the crossfire, civilians in the region fled, but not all of them escaped the junta. Only a few days later, in a village a few kilometers away, 103 homes were set on fire. Taking refuge in this monastery, 22 people, including 3 monks and 1 woman, were murdered by the junta. In these images, bullet holes and the victims' wounds show that most of them were shot in the head. These human rights violations show the methods used by the junta throughout the country against the Myanmar population. At a strategic impasse for several months, the junta has become used to setting fire to the villages it raids. Their scorched earth policy targets rebels, but it also aims to terrorize Myanmar's population, often suspected of supporting the rebels. The NGO Myanmar Witness recorded over 800 villages burned since September 2021. And bombings take place on an almost daily basis, with at least 135 air raids listed by Myanmar Witness in 6 months, between July and December 2022. How is the junta able to continue imposing such a strong and bloody crackdown? While Myanmar has several assembly lines for ammunition and other simple weapons, it's unable to produce its own aircraft or sophisticated munitions. So where are they getting them from? Footage documenting the conflict makes it possible to identify the junta's suppliers. In this video posted at the end of March 2023, we can see, for example, an Mi-35, which is a Russian-made helicopter. The remains of an S-8 rocket, a Russian-made weapon, can be seen on the ground in the aftermath of the attack. In April 2022, a Yak-130, which is an advanced training aircraft developed by Russia, was identified during its attack on a village. Most of this military equipment was acquired before 2021, but the Myanmar army continued to benefit from international deliveries after the coup. In December 2021, 9 months after the putsch, 6 new Yak-130 trainer aircraft were put into service. 4 of them can be seen in this video, and make up the dozen already supplied by Russia to Myanmar's army. According to the UN, Yak-130s are among the aircraft most frequently used in the junta's military operations, including in areas where civilians live. They can be seen in these two other videos filmed in May and June 2022. And the Yak-130 is not the only aircraft supplied by Moscow to the junta. In the spring of 2022, Russia and Myanmar's media announced the arrival of two far more sophisticated combat aircraft in the Southeast Asian country, the Sukhoi Su-30. The fighter aircraft are part of a 6-unit order placed in 2018. A few months after their delivery, they were officially put into service. In January 2023, one of them was filmed flying over the capital. Russia also supplies Myanmar with a wide range of equipment. The UN says that since the coup, Russia has sold over $400 million worth of arms to the Myanmar army. Moscow, for example, has supplied spare parts for Yak-130s and Su-30s, along with armoured patrol and reconnaissance vehicles, which were delivered by cargo ship in January 2022. Russia is not alone in delivering war goods to the Myanmar regime. According to the UN, the junta has purchased over $1 billion worth of arms from foreign suppliers since the coup. Based on these photos taken in the south of the country in February 2022, Le Monde gathered evidence that proved China had also delivered military equipment. According to this internet user, a ship unloaded these vehicles in crates in mid-February 2022. Using the data transmitted by the ship, Le Monde confirmed that it was the Linhai cargo ship that arrived at the port of Talawa on February 14th, from the Chinese port of Tianjin, where it left on January 31st. In this photo, taken on the quayside, several radar systems are seen in the bilge, along with other crates of unidentified goods. Le Monde found that a large quantity of goods had been unloaded on the port. To do this, we relied on publicly available data on the ship's draft marks, which indicates how deep the ship is submerged. When the vessel arrived in Talawa, its draft mark was 8.7 meters, but when it left again 8 days later, it had dropped to 6.2 meters. Using this data, two experts interviewed by Le Monde calculated that around 7,000 tons of goods were unloaded at that time. These deliveries are in breach of the Geneva Convention, a text ratified by every country in the world, including China and Russia. The text condemns weapons deliveries if they're likely to be used against civilians. In 2022, China officially declared that it had sent 4 types of military equipment to the junta, including tank turrets, transport aircraft, and 2 types of light combat aircraft. But China has in fact supplied over $267 million worth of arms to Myanmar since the coup, according to the UN. These include numerous spare parts of military aircraft, like the K-8. The same plane as the one filmed on February 28, 2023 in the Pinglang township, bombing this village.